There's a play at Seattle's Children's Theater that tells the story of an icon, but in a slightly different way.
Let's talk about Young Dragon, a Bruce Lee story.
What I love in particular about it is it focuses on him as a young man, which is a part of his story that you don't get to hear that often. It's important to know this part of his story. It's important to see the beginnings, the foundation. You know, when we see him in films, he's so sculpted and perfect, and he's got everything down, and he worked very hard to cultivate that. But when he was a young man, that didn't exist yet.
How cool it is for you to know that there's gonna be a younger generation that maybe didn't get to see his films, but they're gonna get to learn about him in a different way.
I am always trying to think of ways to continue my father's legacy, and in particular, to introduce him to young people. The medium of theater is such a great medium, right? Because everything is happening live, real time, on stage. The magic that's created there for these young audiences is immediate, actually very intimate.
A story that many of us can relate to. Figuring things out, soul searching, and navigating life in a new country.
He was born in San Francisco, and so he had citizenship by birthright. But he grew up in Hong Kong. Even though he was a US citizen, he was also an immigrant at the same time because he had to come to America. He had to learn how to be American, how to navigate the culture here. So yes, his story is an immigrant story.
But he also was a philosopher.
Yes.
He also have a lot of thoughts, great thoughts.
That part actually is really important to his story. And it's the part that I've tried to get people to know more about. Because when you see the action hero and the martial artist, you don't think deep thinker, you don't think philosopher. He was incredibly well read. He had over 2,800 books in his personal library. He wrote about his thoughts all the time. All of this philosophy was foundational to his impact that he was able to make.
What do you want people to get out of it?
I hope they get to experience something a little bit outside of their normal experience, that they find exciting, that they find engaging and fun, and they're like, I want to know more.